we have a wonderful webinar for you. Our expert Dhea Bartlett is talking to us about relationship marketing and how to be remembered and not deleted. She will share how this information and systems will generate referrals, new business, and incremental sales. Dhea is an entrepreneur, and her love for sharing and coaching people started in the classroom, both in Australia and Singapore, where she was able to broaden her skills in marketing and gain worldwide exposure to opportunities. So, once again, thank you everybody for joining us. Dhea, I'll hand it on over to you.
Great, thank you so much, Kate. It's lovely to be here. Well, thank you everybody, and I'm really excited to share what I love doing. I love helping clients increase referrals and retain their customers, and we do that so that you are remembered and not deleted. Great. So Kate, I've asked for a poll to see if who knows me in the group. So are you able to pop up that poll now? Great. So I just want to know who in the room knows me. Do you know Dhea Bartlett? And there's a method for my madness. And curious. How's that? Is that nearly finished? And are we ready for the second poll yet? Yeah, so it's always, I always like to know who knows me. And then the next question relates to this question as well. Okay. Then other people who do know me, has anybody ever received a card from me for the second poll? And then that can help me with some statistics later. Okay. Actually, I probably should say who would like to get a card from me as well. Okay, so is that poll finished? It's hard to know. Okay.
There's just a couple of people waiting, but
yeah, can we move on?
Finish it up now.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Kate. Okay, what we're going to cover today is how are you going to get noticed in a busy world? You know, what strategies have you got that are effective, that work? And how are we going to help you keep customers or clients? And as already Kate's explained, I did start life, a little bit about me. I started life as a school teacher. I discovered marketing when marketing was really not marketing. It was just this I think I was one of the first people to do something in Caulfield Institute back in the day, and then discovered life with a consultant with Clinique, did sales with a jewelry company. Then I found Send Out Cards, and I've been with them since 2009. With all of those sales roles, I did rise to the top. And back then we didn't call it relationship marketing, but I think what made the success was that I was always curious. Even if I was selling a lipstick to a lady at the counter, they always came back to me, waited till I was on shift so that they could talk to me, because somehow I remembered what they told me. And so all of this sales training and years of connecting with clients and keeping them happy has led me to developing this program. I've also been on our company's Eagle's Nest, which means that it's a global group of people who help to shape the company coming forward, and we're doing some amazing things at the moment. Love to travel, not in the moment obviously. Still enjoying coffee, and being married for 29 years as of 3 months ago. I always say that because with COVID, life's become a little bit like, what day is it? So it's pretty exciting. So what is relationship marketing? Funny enough, it's all about relationships. No longer are we looking at a transactional market. People need more than just, you know, I'm going to go in and buy a car, but what sort of relationship do I want with that dealer? You don't want to be sold to. Nobody wants to be sold to. You know, often people, they don't buy your product. They don't buy your service. They ultimately buy into you. And Cody's our CEO of our company. It's an important distinction to make, because you know, we look at, you know, if you've got 2, 3, let's use car sales. You've got car salespeople and there's 3, say, Honda dealers in a row, and or 3 different car dealers or whatever. Are you going in there for the car alone, or are you going because the person made you feel good? And I'll give you an example, because I did buy a Honda a couple of years ago, and I went by myself, and one of the dealers said, oh, why don't you come back when your husband's around? I was like, really? Do you think he buys the car? So I went to the other Honda dealer and bought it without my husband. So, you know, those are the sort of things that people don't understand affect decision making. So how did they make you feel? And it's the same thing with this comment here. You know, you can close more business in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years of trying to get people interested in you, which is really interesting. And Dale Carnegie said this many years ago. But when you've got something like the social media that comes around and everyone's saying, look at me, look what I can do. Come and see me do this presentation at Victory offices. There's that fine balance about what you're offering. Is it education, or is it just a boastful personality? And, you know, is it really just vying for attention? And when I say I think I'm on Facebook, possibly Twitter, I don't even know, LinkedIn and Instagram. But if your people are on all of these, I don't even know what half these things are. How are you breaking through? How are you getting through that clutter? You know, are you getting noticed in a busy world? You know, how do you stand out in a world of texts and tweets and emails and social media? You know, how can people get to know, like, and trust you through the screen? Like, you know, we all know what we can do with makeup and lights and backgrounds and everything. So really, how are you being noticed? You know, you get this invitation to connect, like I did with this person. So I added this person on LinkedIn and, you know, said, hello, hope you're well. I'm from this digital agency. We're both part of a same LinkedIn group. And I said, oh yeah, I'm setting up a new network, referral partners, refer people in exchange for commissions. And I'm like, I met you, this is December 8, 2018. I didn't answer until February, a few months later. And I said, look, thanks for thinking of me. I'm already belong to a referral group where we've got a digital marketing specialist that gets all my referrals. Good luck with your group. And he said, thanks. Literally the next day, he goes, hope you're well. We are first degree, you know, connections. It goes on and on, you know, come and join. Would you be interested in joining this marketing group? And I just told him no. And then there's another thing in April. So a couple of months later, something, he was wondering if there's anything specific that I can help. He has not gotten to know me at all. You know, just a quick message, just let you know there's a new social network for professionals, and it goes on. This is this whole thing, and it just got, the last one was July the 12th. So just recently, still trying to add me to these, I don't even know what it is. So, you know, it's, automation is great, but not when it comes to trying to connect and, you know, get a relationship going. You've really got to be careful, because this just, you know, I just let them stay there and they just keep coming in. And I mean, yes, I could unfriend him, but it's actually a good exercise of what not to do. And I know there are programs that people pay thousands of dollars to do this stuff. And he might even be a really good person, but I have no desire to meet that type of personality. And I know with this sort of marketing, it's, you know, they're going to throw it all out. Some are going to buy it, but a lot of people will not go for it. And I'm sure if people are there, you know, in the chat box, I mean, who likes to be approached like that? He probably put a thing in his little automation thing just because I've got marketing in my bio, and you just get all this stuff. So try not to do that, because it's not transactional. It's very much, we want to get into relationships. We want to bridge the gap between high tech and personal touch. We want the human connection. It's no longer is it just about, you know, screen to screen all the time. 68% of your customers stop doing business with you due to perceived indifference. Now, what does that actually even mean? You have a closer look of it. For every month that you don't stay in touch with your clients, you lose 10% of your influence over them. And that's pretty incredible when you think about, you know, you might, well, especially during COVID, for instance, you've got, you know, a huge gap. Time goes, you know, you can in fact stay in touch with your clients, even if you've had to close for, you know, hoping that you're going to reopen. But if you're you know, wanting to maintain connection, you keep your social media going, of course, you keep your email marketing going, and you even offer things like this, do a Zoom for your clients, depending on what business that you're in. But what we've got to be careful of is that we're at the beginning part of this relationship. We're sitting there offering to go for coffees, you know, making phone calls. But once we've got them, we've turned our head and we're going on to the next person. And so if I don't feel the love, I always think of that scene in Pretty Woman where Richard Gere has to take Julia Roberts back into the shopping centre because the girls didn't want to serve her. And then she goes into that boutique and says, with all her shopping, it's a big mistake because they didn't treat her very well. They ignored her. So perception is their reality. And as a result, people will leave just because you might have done the job and you might have provided a perfectly good widget. But if they're not feeling that you're still, you know, they're top of mind in your mind, then they're going to go, well, there's no reason to stay, so let's leave. And, you know, I always ask people, what can you do to maintain that they still feel that you care? And like I said, if every month you don't stay in touch with your clients, you lose 10% of influence. And so that doesn't take long for time to move on. You know, are you being forgotten? Building strong connections is more than just face-to-screen interactions. I mean, I hear it all. I've got 50,000, 50 million followers or what have you. Unless you're someone who is able to convert that, what does that actually even mean? You know, yes, you might get a like or a tick or something, but is that converting to a business? The next part is attracting a new customer will cost you 5 times more than keeping an existing one. It's a known fact, and I'm sure I'm telling most of you things that you already know, is that a leaky bucket is that are you losing customers while you're trying to concentrate on putting new customers in there? And I keep talking about, you know, why do, sorry, you know, once you've got your commission, do you move on? No, you think about real estate agents who that their main value is the list that they have, or, you know, why would I want to hold on to a family lawyer's card if you're finished with your divorce technically? Why should a family lawyer maintain a relationship with you? Why does a wills lawyer, once you've got your will, you don't need another will, why should they maintain a relationship with you? Because what will happen is you'll start referring them to other people because you've had a great experience, but you're not going to do that if you forget about who they are and what they've done for you. So with all of this, we come to a client connection cycle. Part of the cycle when you meet people is that you become aware of what they do. You may not need it, the product that they're creating or doing or service, but you know, you go networking, you see something online, you go, oh, that's interesting. You know, this lady makes these round widgets. Okay, then you might consider it for whatever reason, whether it's for a gift or whether it's for yourself or whether, you know, or your consideration might even be over in 2 seconds because you don't need anything to do with that person. So you don't purchase it. So you're staying around here. Then if you do purchase it, then you look for support from the company. You then developing loyalty because you've had great support, and then you become a raving fan. What we're doing on social media a lot of the time is that we're hanging around here, just trying to get awareness. Look at me, look at me, look at me, and constantly looking at me, but we're not trying to direct into the consideration part or the experiencing of your product. And it's exhausting sitting in that space. So with relationship marketing, it's not enough just to do excellent work. We expect you to do excellent work. You know, when I look for something on Google, if I can't remember my plumber's name or my, I can't even think, well, I haven't used anything really in lockdown, but you know, if I can't remember, and I go and look at plumbers in Bayside, Google's going to bring me the most popular one, not the guy that I've met through networking, because that's what Google does. So how do you stay top of mind? Relationship marketing is all about building long-term relationships with customers and prospects rather than encouraging a one-time sale. We've called an emergency plumber from time to time. We always seem to get you know, plumbing issues on public holidays, so our plumber never works, but we don't go back to them. Why? Is he better or worse? No, because they know they've just come out, take the money and they go. So what we're wanting to do is, if you appreciate the customers, they become raving fans, they keep coming back, and the most importantly, well, not most importantly, equally important, is that they tell others. And that's priceless if they can do, if you can get that. There's nothing, I mean, I'm sure you've all experienced, you know, when someone you say, how did you find out about me? And they say, oh, you know, blah, blah, recommended you. And you just, that's what you do, you touchdown, because you think that's, you've sort of arrived. Now going back to this cycle again, so we've done the connection and the meeting, and what we want is to get people into this advocacy area where they're constantly telling people about you. And the only way you're going to get through there is to do all these other touch points through the cycle. Otherwise, we tend to, you know, like that guy was saying before, the very first comment is like, would you like to have connect so that you can then refer me and I will give you commission? It's like, oh, I don't even know who you are. I don't know what you do. I don't know. You know, and it's not my job to go through his LinkedIn profile to find all that stuff out if I have no interest through it. So be mindful in your online connecting that you don't skip any of these stages. And you know, people, I know Wendy and Kate know that I run women's networking groups, and successfully I run 4 events a month, not with like the big 2,000 you know, capacity type things in the Palladium at the Crown, but I run, you know, 25 to 30 people come, women, and people go, oh, it's all right for you because it's easy. People know who you are. Well, how do they know who I am? What do I do? I know how do I encourage to stay top of mind? And here's an example of one card that somebody sent to me. No one is you, and that is your superpower. When we just had to start wearing these masks, and we just had a bit of a giggle. But the key part was that she had to confess that when she'd come to my event, she was pretty intimidated by my personality and my hair, which again, you know, you don't think that that's, you just think that you are who you are. But what I love most is that she just thanks me for creating such a dynamic, open, vibrant, welcoming and safe space for all of us. And that's that whole cycle. She has now invited so many of her networks to come to my events because I made her feel special. And that's what, and this only came about 2 days ago. So she's been inviting all these people to my events, and you know, I don't have to hunt for these people. I need to spend money on advertising or anything because of the relationship I have with people. And the same with your clients. If you build those relationships, they will bring people to you that exactly your target market. So you know, we say your smile's your logo, your personality is your business card, and how you leave others feeling after an experience with you becomes your trademark. That's what you want to be known for. You know, what do you want to be known for in with what you do? Do you want to just be making money quick, fast, churning through clients, which is tiring, exhausting and expensive? Or do you want people to be bringing you clients so that because you've done a great job, but the reward back to you is that you then get the introductions that then are you know, what we want, because they've done all the they've done all that background search for you to bring people that are your ideal client. Okay, so we've made connections. We know we need to make them personal and minimize automation. Now what? I always ask people, what would happen if all the social media went away? Like, say the Zuckermans and the whoever's pull the plug and say, you know what, there's no more Facebook and LinkedIn. What would your business connections look like? And I had fun making these little slides, so I hope I don't make anyone dizzy. But you know, if you want to, we want to get it offline as soon as possible, and we can do that by having our one-to-ones, like book in a Zoom, see if there's a real connection. If you could be offering a freebie, so the one-to-ones are obviously more for bigger items. If you're selling, you know, the back of this little widget, I don't know if you can see on my phone, well, obviously I'm not going to be sitting there having a one-to-one with somebody, but if you've got a higher ticket item, then the one-to-ones are really important to see if there is a connection, if there's alignments in products and values. The offering of a freebie so that you can get them on a mailing list. And people say these are gone, but they're really not gone. I mean, I think about, if I say it many times, you really can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So your marketing is what your clients, your prospects are seeing. So, you know, if you're selling or sharing about, you know, writing a book during this time, and I've got a freebie on my website about the top 10 mistakes to avoid when starting to write a book. Well, of course, everybody who wants to write a book is going to want to know what to avoid. So that will then build your list. Then you've taken them off the social media onto your mailing list, and then you engage with them on email marketing. Another way is to make introduction to others, but being very careful here because it's your reputation at stake. I mean, Wendy today, I knew Kate, but she put me up to talk about something today for Victory officers. Now, she wouldn't have done that if she didn't know who I was, and hopefully she's not regretting it as we're speaking here. But, you know, introducing people to others is a brilliant way to get relationships going. And what happens is, Wendy endorses me, then I'll talk about Wendy, and then I will share, and Wendy stays top of mind for me. Then when it comes to me introducing Wendy to others because of what she's done for me, but it's just that whole reciprocal marketing where givers, you give and you get, and you will just, by giving, you do receive things. So another one that people do are free challenges. The whole idea of all of these is to get them all off your socials and onto something else that you own, that you control. Otherwise, as I said, if the social media went away, what would your connections look? I'm still astounded where people today still say, I only have a Facebook page, I don't have a website. And again, if Facebook went away, how would people find this business? And they're quite successful. How would they find them? And why do all of these? Because people will do business, and you all know it, could almost sing a song with those they know, like, and trust, and then it leads to your paid services. Excuse me. So the gap of good intentions, knowing what we should do versus what we actually do. And, you know, there's a gap there. So do we fall down that gap? You know, people say staying in touch with my entire database is time consuming and inconvenient. Well, do you have recipient's address and having the correct postage or additional mailbox at home? It's just 3% is personal. I'm in another poll here, Kate, where you know, who actually has a mail, who gets decent mail in their mail? People are missing out on a direct mail opportunity that doesn't look like junk, because we're especially now we're all at home. Sending something in the mail would be very top of mind and stand out. And again, if you did stand out, 3% of your, you know, what if you were the standout of your 3% in your as prospects and client receive? If you're top of mind with them, how would you increase your business? Would it be phenomenal if you could be in that little small pocket there, as opposed to into that, you know, 97% that gets chucked away? Those little flyers, I mean, often will go to the mail, take it, sort through. Obviously, I can't throw the bills away as much as I'd like to. So before we get to the house, there's a little side part. All that junky stuff just goes in the box, brings the, you know, rubbish bin, I should say, not box. and then the rest comes in the house. So it doesn't even come into the house. So whoever gets the mail makes that decision. So, you know, you've really got to be careful where you're turning up. And as I said, people know send out cards is the best relationship building system in the world today. And I say that because it's nothing else there on the market to break through digital clutter. And you notice I put my little stamp there for my name. You know, you get to act on promptings. You can reach out to people quite easily. It literally is a platform like this. You pick a card and you send it. One thing that we advise people to do, you customize with your brand, is send out campaigns. So you could say, you know, when you're prospecting, could you give me 15 minutes of your time? So once they come on board, we appreciate your business. You can send birthday cards, holiday cards, you brand it on the back, and then you can have an inspirational card. You know, these 5 touch points increases your top of mind awareness. That I think they said it was 78 to 98% depending on industries, but it's phenomenal because you are breaking through digital clutter. Again, you can have a system. You can schedule them, drip campaigns, like I said before, and there's an 80-20 rule where if you send 5 cards a year, 4 of them can be, 4 of them have to be, personal, can't be, and then 1 can be asking for a referral. So you've sent out your cards, the 5th one can be, hey, I'll use Wendy because Wendy's, hey Wendy, I'm currently looking for people who can do X, Y, Z. We're in the area. Do you know anybody? That's fine because you've sent her a thank you for being a valued client. You've sent her a possibly some brownies for being such a nice person. Then you can ask. You can't ask in this. There's nothing worse by sending a birthday card and having a PS saying, "Oh, by the way, the best referral, the best thank you can have is a referral." It's like, well, that's not a birthday card. It's a I'm asking for a referral. So be mindful when you don't mix your marketing and your relationships in the one message. Even in emails, you've just got to be very careful with that as well. And then you build your presence in the marketplace and make people feel appreciated. And as the saying was, appreciation wins over self-promotion every time. And social media tells us to promote ourselves, which is fine, but you need to do it through a place of educating or through client awareness. So you're not sitting there saying, oh, look at me, and I'm great, And it's really becomes, people start to use the snooze button very fast, especially on Facebook, and nobody's seeing anything. So what you appreciate appreciates. I'll just show you a case study. These clients of ours are in WA, and have a team member down there who was working with them. And other than she discovered a few things about, they weren't able to track their customers very well. But what they found was when they picked up the phone and did cold calling, or they did letterbox drops, just the plain generic things, they had no results. It was time consuming, and they didn't get any, really minimal effort, minimal results. We introduced a 3-paneled thank you system. So we thanked their customers. So it was obviously a tangible thank you to build the relationship. We thanked their prospects. So it wasn't just people who bought from them, anyone who was a prospect who would be a quote for them. And we used a personal message because, let's be honest, we don't want to have marketing's mark. So they wanted to speak how they spoke. Want to say a quick thank you, to say a quick note to say thank you. We are ever so grateful in your faith in us to help you with your garage servicing needs. Your satisfaction is our main priority. So off they go. And they also send one other card, is their annual service, yearly service. So they can have their set and forget card that will arrive for their clients. So they do that at the time of installation. So that's part of their follow-up system. And then they say the money's in the follow-up. So a month after they've been thanked, they want to follow up and let them know how they appreciate and they're grateful for the opportunity to serve. If you've been happy with our service, we'd love a review to help us grow our small business. And you can do this by going either on Google or Facebook and typing in the ultimate garage door and finding them. And as a thank you, there's a box of brownies as well. So of course they sweetened the deal with a thank you. So if you're asking somebody to do something, why not thank them with a little gift? So of course what happens? They got all these great Facebook reviews and Google reviews. And I'm not going to read them all, but they're all there. They were over a period of, I don't know how many times. This was last year. So what happens now? So what? They get all these Google reviews. Big deal. What does that mean? Or Facebook reviews especially. Well, 92% of consumers trust recommendations from their family and friends over all forms of advertising. So what happens as soon as if you do anything on Facebook, somebody else has a look. If I've said I'm coming to this victory event today, people like that. Like, my sister will see and she goes, oh, where are you going? Or what did you buy? What did you recommend? And all this brings attention to you, which is what you want. Now, going back to these people, Trish and I forgot his name, the 80-20 principle applies. It was a low cost investment. It developed and retained customers. It generates referrals and word of mouth, and they have higher conversion of sales. And I'll show you this. I don't do the money part very well, but it did work. This was last year, April, they had, $20,000. And then since starting their send out cards, they increased it to 60 something by August. And that converted to 170% increase in revenue. So they're very happy. They're still doing it. Haven't got the current stats because Perth's a little bit different as well. They're still out there able to install, the message, I guess, is that as Maya Angelou says, and everyone knows, is that people will forget what you said and people will forget what you did, but they won't never forget how you made them feel. And that's what we want to do with this. You want to have that relationship so that there's a stirring in the person that will always remember who you are because you made them feel fantastic, even if it is to buy a cappuccino down the road. Who's missing that relationship now with their baristas? That whole connection with people is what we want to do. And speaking of connection, I have got free consultation with anybody who wants to connect. I have got this book here that's always sits by my desk here, The Power of Human Connection. If anybody wants to, book in for a consultation, then I will give a copy of this book to you as well. It's brilliant. It's by my CEO. It's how relationship marketing is transforming the way people succeed. I know I've rushed through a lot of things, so I'll finish with this last slide, which I do love, and it's actually interesting if you think about it. Follow-up business never goes away, it just goes to someone else. When you think about that, people go, oh, I didn't get the job. Oh, they've never got back to me. Well, where did that go? Somebody still has got a leaky toilet, or they're not going to stay with a leaky toilet forever, or the kitchen renovation still, they're going to stop, or does it just because you didn't get the job? So follow up is how I will leave with the presentation tonight. So Kate, is there anyone else, or I think that's it. Shall I stop the slides, or?
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, please pop them in the chat or pop them down in the Q&A section. And while you're doing that, Dhea, thank you so much. Obviously, you've kind of let everyone know where they can find you, but is there anything else that you wanted to plug? That material that you mentioned, is it possible for me to include that in the follow-up email?
Sure, that little last slide, do you want me to share it to you, or did you take it already?
That's all right. Why don't you share that with me after? And obviously everyone, especially those who've shared their LinkedIn, I'll be in touch after today with a follow-up email, and I'll have that piece of marketing material included. I do have a question here from Rebecca. She said, love direct mail and using it as a tool. A bit of a challenge with people working from home in this lockdown climate. Any tips?
Yes, if there's a lot of them, it's really tricky, like I said, but if I know them, I'll just say, Wendy, I would love to send you a little something. I even did that with you, Kate, with your recent birthday. I'd love to send you a little something. What's your preferred postal address? I don't ask where do you live, because that can sound creepy. Often people will give me their address where they live. So it's, you just have to ask. Or if you're doing, if it's quick and easy and you can do like a little competition, like guess how many Smarties are in the jar, and you get a little Google form, something like that. So if you're not comfortable, I find that harder, a Google form harder than just asking, but if you've got a lot of people, then you probably do need to do a Google form. But if it's just 10 people, you really want to reach out, I'd just be saying, hey, just love to send you a little something. What's the best place to mail it to? And you've got to be careful. People think you're going to email. Where's the best place to post to? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think doing it in person is most likely best. And you generally develop a connection via that conversation anyway. So even though in concept it kind of sounds potentially awkward, in person it really isn't. In the same way that when you found out that it was my birthday and you asked for my best dress, like it really wasn't awkward, and I felt very comfortable giving it to you because you'd already created a relationship.
Yes.
And this is just kind of confirming that relationship and ensuring that you stay relevant and in my mind. Now, does anyone else have any other questions? If you do, you're more than welcome to raise your hand and I can take you off mute if you'd prefer. Otherwise, I think we'll wrap up for tonight. So, Dhea, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your expertise with us. As I said, I will follow up with everybody after today with all of Dhea's details. So if you do want to get in contact with her, you'll have that at the ready. So once again, thank you so much, Dhea, and thank you everybody for joining us. Oh, Wendy, do you have a question?
No, I just seriously, I think that people buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
Fundamentally. This is just so foundational about how you expand a meaningful network. And I was sitting here and I was tempted to kind of put my little cheeky comments in the chat box, and I'm like, no, because what if they pop up and I distract Dhea? But the number of people that I speak to that says, I've got 10,000 contacts on LinkedIn or even more. And I kind of go, are they engaged?
Yeah.
Do they comment? Do they, do they like or share your content? Because LinkedIn actually penalizes you for those numbers if they're not engaged. So it's, it's really not about the quantity, it's about the quality.
Yeah. I'm not saying don't be on the social, you have to, because nothing worse than, there's some young people that they go out and do social media and go, what, you're young? There's a bit of a, going away from that, but you do need the social media. But this old school type of, if somebody, like, sadly, people's parents are if you know that they've passed away, send a sympathy card. It's nothing wrong, it's old school, but the value that you get from it, and you're not doing it just to give, to get. You've got to be sincere, because otherwise people will smell that a mile away. But thank you.
All right, beautiful. Well, I'll wrap up there. Thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you all online again soon.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.